This video is part 2 of our Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone reread.
So we'll talk about the differences between the movie and the book. And we kind of mentioned this in part 1, the chocolate frog. It doesn't jump in the book. It's just candy.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it to.
I thought that was a cool take,
Yeah.
because it made it more giggleable for kids just watching it.
Also, as you mentioned, the happy birthday is not incorrectly written in the book, which is a really sweet,
I actually
I love that.
Had to read it again to make sure I caught that. I was like,
yeah,
you spelled it correctly.
Yeah.
Oh, boom.
But the visual of it was exact for me.
Yeah.
I felt like the beginning parts of the book, Diagon Alley, all of that was very visually accurate for what I had imagined, especially because I read the book first, and for so many years beforehand, I was very pleased with that. Especially when Hagrid burst through the door. That's my favorite chapter in the first book, is when he first meets Hagrid. So I start smiling as soon as I see the picture of him in his coat at the chapter number, and it's exactly how it was in the book. Putting the door frame back on, all that, and, oh, there you go. Like, so funny. So funny.
I think Hagrid was funnier in the movie.
I agree.
He was like, oh, sorry about that.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh, shouldn't have said that. He had a little bit more.
Yeah, how much more dialect can you put in the book, though? You know, put in that accent. I mean, she already wrote that in as best she could, but she wanted to make it readable, I think, is why. So I was really glad they expanded on it, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just start off with this one. I noticed that the movie has Harry and Draco meeting in a different way than in the book. In the book, they meet when Harry and Draco are picking out their robes for Hogwarts, and in the movie, that is not even in the movie. They meet, like, on the train or something. Is it on the train?
No, right as they enter.
Right as they enter Hogwarts. Yeah, that's right. And I'm interested in, like, why maybe they thought that was a good idea.
Probably just that scene wasn't necessary, so they just cut that out and let him.
Because he does. I do too. I mean, he says things. He says things in that scene that
about lineage,
right?
About wizard lineage.
Yeah.
And it's the first sort of prejudice that Harry experiences in the wizarding world. His first day in was by this boy, and he didn't really know about it until he was already there. Especially when he meets Ron for the first time, he goes, "Oh, he must be one of those old wizarding families Malfoy was talking about." So it's already playing into his mentality.
Right. And before that scene, he had only ever encountered prejudice from the Muggle side of things, hating wizards. And the movie attempts to gloss over that and include some of that in when they're on the Quidditch field, but it wasn't as impactful. I would have...
It was subtle,
right?
How Malfoy did it, which is exactly how it works in real life.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
I would have to say, I know it's kind of a nerdy thing of me, but then again, we're doing a Harry Potter reread podcast, so the costuming. I wish there was more detail in the book about what they were wearing at what time, because I'm very much a details person. She was very descriptive about their faces and things like that, so when the actors and actresses came out in the movie, it made sense that their faces were very similar to how she described in the book. But in the costuming, they really kind of went for it, and I think it was inspired a lot by the cover art for the whole series, to be honest. Like this one, like what the castle looked like, that you have Fluffy in there, it's old stone, what the snitch looks like, all of that was kind of adapted from probably the original sketches for the artwork, and I want to know what that other artwork looked like. That had to have used it for reference for the movie, because Rowling had to have worked with them. So their costuming and things like that, their depictions of scenes, I thought that was very true. What Malfoy looked like with slick back hair. I mean, Snape was easy enough. Put him in a dark cloak and he'll be instantly
black
creepy
hair
looking.
that's
But
greasy and
especially McGonagall, she was exactly looking like
the
that
green
cat
robes
with the spectacles, green robes. Yep. But they did say she had black hair in the book, which I thought was interesting. I was fine with what she looked like in the movie. But
even the Dursleys look different in the movie than they do in the book. Petunia's supposed to be blonde.
Yes,
she's not.
Yes,
you know.
But I thought Dudley was straight on.
Oh my god.
Yeah, straight on. So I thought the casting was really well done.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, in my opinion, the first movie has some pretty bad acting in it.
Yes.
And a lot of parts. So I just kind of get distracted by that. So, I mean, I'm naturally
that's what I noticed when they were on the train. I was like, ooh, Hermione. She's like, you know, doing these like moves. It's like acting 101. And even Ron, like, the scene when he's trying not to ask Harry about his scar was like so forced to me. I'm like, oh god. He's like, and you know, the expression is just so overdone. But they get better. Like, obviously. They But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, it's kind of the charm of an 11-year-old.
Yes.
Because that's really what those actors and actresses are.
Yeah.
They're 11-year-olds, and they act like awkward 11-year-olds.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they act like awkward 11-year-olds that are acting.
A small difference that was actually important to me was in the book, in the movie, which is one of my favorite parts of the movie, is Ron mocks Hermione. He says Leviosa, not Leviosa, and they don't do it in the book. But I noticed it more because that was actually the part where I fell in love with Ron. That's when he became my favorite character, just because he was just so cheeky and he was the comic relief. And I was a little bummed that they didn't have that in the book. I know it's a small difference.
I kind of wonder about how they came about doing that, too. How they wrote that in. Did they want to build Ron's character? Because he's really cheeky throughout the series, but they didn't pull, direct dialogue from the book as often as I thought they had.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while since I reread, but in that regard, I was surprised too, rereading, going, oh, that's right, that wasn't in there. And I'd read the book how many times, but it felt so right with how the characters were in the book.
Speaking of Hermione, the potion test after the chess game is completely eliminated from the movie, which is kind of Hermione's crowning glory.
I agree.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, after they get through the chess scene, there's yet another challenge that they have to go through where they have to pick the correct potion.
That's Hermione's smarts coming in that they needed in order to progress, and it was completely taken out. So my little feminist heart was like, no!
I know, it was like her scene, the only thing she did for them in the movie really was the herbology thing, where she's like, stop struggling, and then they fell through. But even that didn't really happen the same way in the book.
No. Once again, Ron got another, he's like, whoo, glad we didn't panic. And he didn't do that in the book. Yeah. They made him a little bit funnier in the movie.
Yeah.
So that was disappointing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the book Hermione was everything I needed while reading it at that age, because I was very similar in age, and knowing that someone could be kind of bossy and super smart, or someone that's a little bit odd or not the prettiest could still be someone integral to helping others. And so I think that still came across in the movie enough, but I agree with what you guys said earlier about it should have happened more in the first.
Well, I was texting somebody that I know and talking about this book, and I was like, Hermione was leaning in even before Sheryl Sandberg ever thought about writing that book, and I just thought that was funny because she inserts herself into their drama, not drama in a bad way, but what they're doing, what they're learning, what they're exploring, because she's curious, and that was me at that age. I didn't have this book at that age necessarily because I didn't read it then, but that would have. I mean, I understand the love behind that character. The whole Norbert thing is different. Why do you think that is?
It probably wasn't important to the plot.
No.
So them going to the roof and setting him free, and I think that was just his showing Hagrid's love of animals.
Yes.
But they probably found another. They were able to do it with the Norbert part in the book, in the movie.
Yeah. Also brought more of Ron's family into it.
Yeah.
Right.
Which you don't really get anything.
You don't get any Bill and Charlie except mentions.
Even Percy. And you'll see as the book progresses, Percy is a huge part.
Percy is huge
in the books and not in the movie.
I forgot how often he came up. So it was the first chapter in it was all about Percy and his new owl and his new robes and his prefectus and Fred and George making fun of him. And I was like, oh yeah, that's so funny. He was comic relief at his expense. So I'm surprised they didn't add that in the movie because he was that guy who was being like Hermione, very smart, very studious, but in the bad way where he's using that to smush others, So I thought that would be a good contrast to her too.
I don't know why. I kind of have my own reasons for it, but in the book you talk about the centaurs and how they foretold certain prophecies, and I feel like that would have come up again in the book, but they cut it out of the movie and it ended up being Trelawney. So I don't know if the centaurs were supposed to know the prophecy and it just got cut out of the movie or the book. Yeah,
it made it seem really kind of ominous too.
Yeah,
they knew all.
Because when Hagrid in the book asks them what's going on, they just keep repeating that Mars is close tonight. Mars is the god of war, which could also mean that they're telling you that literally Voldemort is here. Yeah. This guy that's going to bring all this war and destruction is right in the fort. It's close. It's, so...
Eating those unicorns.
That's weird. Yeah, eating them unicorns.
But only Firenze is in the movie. He does show up again in later movies, but not about any kind of prophecy or any kind of Mars or anything.
Yeah, they're just a magical creature that came in and you got to go, ooh, look how cool. And
yeah, it was like, oh, save Harry at the last second.
And it's a magical creature because it's Harry Potter. Great. Yes. But yeah, it was
they actually have
how much
purpose
I forgot
in the book.
I forgot about the centaurs.
Yeah. I mean, my last one was going to be the Sorting Hat, in that he doesn't sing the little song, which I think was good. The song is so awkward. No, I did not. If I get to this school and there's a freaking like what? No, I hate fight songs to begin with. I don't understand.
I hate fight songs.
And like this is Hogwarts fight song, and it just was not. I was happy about that, but the only thing
Hogwarts.
I was cringing. But the thing that I didn't like about the movie is that the things that the hat is saying to the student is not heard inside their head. Everyone can audibly hear what this hat is saying to them. And I didn't like that. Like, I felt like it was more intense in the book, how all of that happens inside of Harry's head. Inside his own head, he's saying, not Slytherin, not Slytherin. And, like, you would never utter that to yourself when they're sitting right there. Like, it just didn't... I don't know, the whole scene was just different and bothered me.
The one time a voiceover would have been appropriate.
Yes.
Because it's magic.
Absolutely. So, that was the last difference.
I agree with that. But I feel like the ambiance of the Great Hall was spot on, though.
Absolutely.
That tension before going up to the stool to get sorted was very accurate, but I did miss the song. But I agree also on that. And kind of mysteriousness, because that comes into play later.
Yeah.
Mysteriousness of the hat.
Yeah.
Like, he could read all these people's thoughts for how many years, so he's just gathering information, and it comes into play. Mm-hmm. And you just don't get to know that in the movie.
Yeah. So. One thing I noticed about the first movies and the rest of the movies is the director is Christopher Columbus, who directed Goonies. Mm-hmm. And this book is is much more Goonie-esque than the subsequent films.
Absolutely. So he's not the director in the later movies?
No.
Okay.
I think he's a producer.
Silly humor and the dark bits and wrong
and the friendship.
Yes, the friendship.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. That's a good note.
Yeah. And I was talking this with Elise is in the movie, in the book, there's a scene right before they go to do the trapdoor with Fluffy. And in the book, Harry makes a big deal about, I have to do this. This isn't just about losing points. This is my life, and we're going to die if we don't, because we're just prolonging him coming. Mm-hmm. In the movie, they didn't really make it a bigger deal than I felt the book did.
Yeah.
And I think that was important that they and that's why I felt it was more of a happy adventure, Goonie-type movie instead of a really serious...
Life and death.
Yeah.
There's no life and death. He was scared at the end, terrified when he saw him, but... It wasn't the whole time while they're going through the trapdoor, that whole sequence, they are terrified. They are shaking, about to cry, and they're 11 years old, and genuinely 11 years old. This is like, whoa, we just made it through, let's keep going. And what's down the tunnel?
But like, that's what's so compelling about Harry is that he realizes the danger of the situation before he even sees the actual danger.
Right, and he's 11 years old.
His perspective is spot on.
I agree.
So yeah, that's a good point.
Elise and I recently went to Wizarding World, and so I was watching I was watching the movie, and I really wanted to see how close
it was exactly the same.
Really.
I was like, oh my god.
I was there.
And I hadn't seen the first movie in years. So when they come around the corner, like you do at Universal Studios, and then you see the like Gringotts building on an angle and all the shops nearby, I'm like, wow,
my heart
they did
is
an amazing job.
Excitement right now because I want to go so badly.
Ollivanders was spot on. It really looks
I love that scene in the book too.
Yep. When they went in those shops, I was like, oh my god, I didn't realize that was so.
Yeah, we didn't
someone got paid a lot of money.
That shop that you went into to get all the like dark art
Nocturne
stuff,
Alley.
It's in the second book, right?
Borges and it's in the first book. That's the first. That's where Harry meets Malfoy.
Right, because his family.
Borges and Borgin. I can never remember the name.
Borgin and something or other.
Yeah.
Borgin. Borgin Burks.
Yeah. Something with some B's and B's.
B's and B's.
B's and B's. All right, I think we're gonna make it, guys. Because I want to mention one more thing, which is I like that a lot of the quotes stayed. Mm-hmm. Some of the more important ones, and my favorite one is the Erised one where he doesn't do to dwell on the dead and forget to live. That one.
Yeah.
So I was glad that some of her really important quotes stayed in the movie.
Yeah, she had an opinion on it.
Alright, so we may have to cut some stuff. Alright, so thanks for joining us for the reread of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And we will probably do next week, we'll do Chamber of Secrets. Chamber of Secrets. That's the other says. Alright, bye-bye.
Bye.